In this episode, we visit Copart in Westbury. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. So, we're about ready to get ourselves a new car. With the Ford Ka now sold and the Seat Leon has now just passed its MOT and it's now ready to be sold, so you'll see that in next week's episode. We now need to start thinking about our next project car. So what better way to do that than to go to a Copart. So that's what we've done. We've gone to Copart Westbury to take a look at a few cars. So what cars do we have in store? Well, I've selected 4 cars that I'm considering to be my next project car. One of them will be one of my next project car. So what better place to start to look at these cars than our great friends at autoauction.io. Auto Auction is a fantastic site. It allows you to be able to see the prices of cars, what they were sold at, and look at some history. And you can also find out if the car has been through Copart in the past. So I'm going to point your attention to the screen now, and we're going to take a look at some of the cars that we're looking at. Okay, so the first car that we're looking at, as you can see on screen, is our 2011 Mini Cooper D. So this car I liked because it was a convertible. We're coming into convertible season, so I thought let's take a look at this car. So this is the pictures of the car, and like I've always said to you, always best to go and take a look at the car in the flesh, and that's what we're going to do. So first of all, let's take a quick look at the pictures of the car. The pictures are pretty good. You can see that the car's running here as well, so we know it's a runner. The front bumper or crash bar seems to be intact, there's no damage. And actually, if we look at the dashboard here, this is not the main dash, this is just a rev, the tacho on top of the steering wheel. So the main one is in the center dash. We don't see a picture of that. There's an alarm sign there. So there's only these are the early pictures that we have, and it doesn't really give us a lot of information really. So this is a good one to go and see in the flesh. So I'm going to bring that up on screen right now. Okay, so on screen now, what you're looking at is the Mini in the flesh. So the first thing I'm going to look at is to look at the legs to make sure that they're straight. So here's your radiator. Yes, that's fine. That's just a loose crash bar. That's where the headlamp's secure to, and both headlamps are not secure, as you can see. So I want to make sure that I get those if I also purchase this car. Then I'm going to take a quick look at the wheels to make sure that they are not being pushed back, and then we're looking at for any body damage that we wouldn't see in the picture. So there's a pinhole there, shopping trolley bash, a bit of a scratch, but the car is in reasonable condition in view of the it's a 2011 plate, so it's not too bad, not in terms of the condition. Again, we're looking at the bodywork here to make sure that there's nothing that we've missed, i.e. scratches along the car, etc. We can see a wheel trim there, wheel arch trim, and again the wheel, we're looking at the alignment. Now I'm going to have a look inside the vehicle to see if there's anything that I need to be aware of. So in the back there you've got the under tray from the engine bay. That's come apart, that's come off, but it's there, which is good because you need that, because a lot of modern day cars have a lot of electronic components that are exposed underneath, so the under tray protects them, such as things like the electric steering wheel. So even though those parts are robust, you need to protect them against the elements. Alright, so now I want to go and pop into the car, and here I'm just checking that the mirror drops. You can't really see it in the camera, but it does drop, the window, side window. And I'm going to now start the car. So here's, because I want to see if there's any lights on the dashboard that I need to be aware of. So just having a little play in the interior, all's good. In Copart, what you'll find is that the keys will be on a tie strap, and in this case we've got 2 keys. So I'll stick the key in, and I'm looking at the dash to see what lights come on. Let's start the car now. Okay, all the normal lights come on, the car is started, everything goes off. So we know we're in a good place there. There's no dashboard lights there, surprisingly. No airbag lights have gone off. So the car is in pretty good condition, which is good. So as a courtesy, you put the key back, and then it's fit for the next person, or the person who buys a car. And if you notice in the car in front there, you always have an escort when you go on to Copart, and they're there just to make sure you leave the keys behind. Okay, so we're all good here, and this car is one worth looking at, so we're happy with that. And I think we can now take a look at our next car. Right, okay, car number 2. So let's look on the screen. So car number 2 is a 2008 Audi TT Quattro. On the surface, car looks okay. Now it actually sold for $2,450. Retail price around $5,760. Second hand around $4.5 grand. Now, first of all, looking at the pictures here, this car is registered as a category S. Yeah. However, I'm not seeing anything that's saying that it is a category S, except for this area here. It looks like it's got a dent here. No airbags have been deployed. Everything in here looks relatively new, in fact. And if we look at the dashboard, we see that the car is running. There's no lights on the dashboard other than seatbelt and handbrake. So this car looks in pretty good condition, other than the fact that you can barely see it, but it's been just side swiped there. So is this car category S? I don't think so. Looking at the damage, it certainly isn't a category S. So we need to see this car in the flesh, because something isn't quite right with these pictures that we have here. So let's turn our attention to the screen. Okay, so let's take a look at our car in the flesh. So here's our car. So the first thing we're going to do is take a good walk around. So far, nothing to report. Everything looks fine. It's a 2008 car. Now let's take a look at the damage we saw that we could barely see. And as you can see there, yeah, it's definitely a hit. But does that warrant, by the looks of it, I think that is literally a soft hit. That's nothing really substantial. It doesn't really warrant it being a Cat S. Now let's just check to see if the door opens okay, because that's going to be a sign. If the door is stuck, then we know that we might have some issues. Nope, door opens just fine. So we know that the frame is fine, because this is convertible as well, so that's important to know. Inspect the roof, slight hole there, that's okay. That can be repaired. Other than that, nothing really wrong much with this car in terms of severe damage. If you notice there, I'm just waiting to see if the window drops, and it did. So now let's just take a look inside the car and check the dashboard to see if there's any lights. Let's take the keys. This car comes with 2. Give the car a start. So there's all our lights on the dashboard. We're looking for anything that shouldn't be there. Engine light is on, but that's fine, because the car hasn't started yet. We'll give the car a start. There we go. Engine light goes off, and all we got is our seatbelt and handbrake light, which is good. The car revs just fine. Okay. Put the keys back. That's the courtesy thing that you do. Always put the keys back where you found them. I'm just showing that there's 2 keys still, in case there's any issues later on. I left it with 2 keys in there. Shut the door. Oh, let's lift the bonnet up and take a look underneath. Now, if you remember the picture, the underneath of this car was immaculate, so I'm expecting it to be the same. And sure enough, there it is. Absolutely clean. This car has either been valeted very well before it's been sold or this is being repaired. And actually, when you look at this car, the damage on there is a Cat N style damage. So the fact that this car is listed as a Cat S means that I think it's been repaired before, and it's had another incident, and that second incident has written the car off. Okay, so next car we're going to take a look at is the Scirocco. So let's take a look at the screen now, and as you can see, we're looking at a 2009 Scirocco G. So what are these pictures telling us? Well, the car is a Cat S. Okay, so we're looking at damage that warrants a Cat S, and sure enough, there it is. So this wheel here is bent. It's definitely damaged, and that's where our Cat S damage is. So it's going to need a new rear subframe, or at least the suspension sorted at some point there. So what else is there? What other pictures are we looking at? Interior of the car is great, no problems there. We're looking for lights. Always look for your lights, that's always important. There's nothing in there that's causing me concern, which is good. There's your wheel again. So it's going to need a bumper, a rear bumper, and suspension. And if we look here, that looks damaged as well. We need to see it in the flesh. Other than that, it looks pretty good. There's nothing really that bad with it other than this. It's a 59 plate as well. So let's take a look at the car in the flesh. Okay, so here's the Scirocco. That's my Escort you just saw walking by. So the first thing I wanted to have a look at is, let's take a look at the damage at the back. So I'm trying to see whether there's a subframe or not. So, and there it is. So actually it's a wishbone, so it looks like the wishbone joins into the middle of a subframe, and depending if the wishbone is twisted, then we might just get away with changing that, but we may have to drop the whole rear subframe to get this one repaired. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm looking for any other damage that I couldn't see in the photos. Engine looks okay. Nothing really there to write home about. It's a TSI or TFSI engine, so it's a turbo petrol. And for some reason, the guy decided to take a look at the oil of the car. Not sure why, but anyway, it was clean. Interior wise, as we saw in the pictures, the interior is reasonably good condition, no real wear and tear to worry about. I don't know why people leave their cars in such states. I really don't understand that, but anyway, it's a little bit dirty from people jumping in and pulling in dirt, I guess, from the inside. And yes, definitely going to need a new bumper, that's for sure. That's not going to be saved, and it's going to need a new wheel as well. But the real concern is that twist. You can see it's definitely twisted there, and so I would hope that it would just be the subframe on this car that was in such a condition. I do like these Sciroccos. They are really nice little cars, and they drive well. Essentially it's a Golf, but just the shape and everything on it is pretty good. So I do take the keys and take a look. It's an auto DSG, so that's quite a valuable car, but unfortunately this car, there was no life in it. Battery was completely dead, so turning it, and yeah, no life in that, so I couldn't test it. And I didn't bring my pocket tester with me as well, so couldn't really see if the engine runs, although the ad does say that it does. So yeah, not much I can say more about that, other than the fact that it was a good looking car, and that damage on it didn't seem so substantial. Okay, so we now have the auction. I've actually recorded the auction of this one. I'm going to show you now and let's see how that went. Okay, final car, the Ford Fiesta ST, on screen now. So this is the car that I really wanted to see. So it's a Ford ST, Fiesta ST. It is a Cat S, so category S, and you can clearly see why it's a Cat S on the other picture. There you go, it's pushed in there. Interestingly, why I was interested in this car is, as you can see in the picture, no airbags deployed. Front of the car really straight, although it does show an airbag, but the curtain one has deployed, but none of the front ones. These are quite easy to replace, these side curtain impact side curtain airbags. And you can see in the corner here that this is the front one. Actually, it's not a sidewall. So yeah, it looks pretty good, but there's not much information on this on the Copart site. Well, not enough information for me to think if this car was worth looking at. It actually sold for around 3,450. So obviously these auctions have been in the past. So yeah, so let's take a look at this one in the flesh and see what it looks like. Okay, let's take a look at the screen. Here is our Fiesta ST. 64 plate, so it's a 2014 car. So I'm just having a real good look inside to see what the extent of the damage is. Interior is absolutely beautiful in this car. There's our locking key nut, which is good to see. Always need that, so we know that's in the car. That door closes fine. Now we're taking a look at the damage. It's got a wheel missing, you notice that. So it's had the spare wheel put on. That needs to go. I'm assuming that the other wheel was damaged. Let's see if that door opens. It's a bit stuck. That's not opening for nobody. There's your side airbag. You see, didn't see that in the picture. That was hidden, and that's a thing that you find at Copart. Sometimes they hide the airbag so the damage doesn't look as bad as it is, because they rely on the fact that a lot of people don't come and see the cars, so they buy the cars and then they discover that there's more work to be done, which obviously influences the price. So yeah, so that side airbag and the curtain airbag, they need to be replaced. The door doesn't open, so possibly the B pillar may be pushed or may need some work doing on it. That with no let's see if the car starts. Actually, don't think it did start. I think if I can remember right, the car wouldn't start, although I could get a dashboard running, but I couldn't get in the car to actually get the car running because I couldn't get into the passenger seats. But at least ignition does come on. Let's just turn that off. Put that back. But my real concern is obviously that the sill being pushed in the way it is. That's quite a tough sill. And whatever happens with this car, it's going to need to go onto a jig and be pulled out to get that repaired. Right. So I'm just going to jump in the side here. So what I need to see now is just how bad the airbag is and how much damage it's caused. So here we go, airbag. So you can see it's pushed out the side there. That's not bad. Literally, they're quite easy to put back in. Okay. So that's okay. In the back, you can see where the curtain is deployed from. It goes along the whole length there, and that needs to be put back in properly so they can be deployed. And that's about it. So yeah, that's a good looking car. Okay, so those auctions happened on the same day, Friday, about a week and a half ago. So all those cars are sold. Here's the thing, one of the 4 cars is going to be my next project car, but you guys get to decide what it is. Which car do you think I should buy for my next project car? Do I go for the Mini, or do I go for a Mini Cooper S or something like that? Do I go for an Audi TT again? I'm gonna go for a TT at some point, but now the time. Do I get a convertible for the summer and the track buyers that way? Do I look at a Scirocco, or do I look at a Fiesta ST? You make the decision. I'm gonna put a vote card above there, or just put some comments down below and tell me which one you think I should go for. Good. Okay. So next week we're back on the Seat Leon. Final preparation for the Seat, and the final video before we sell the car. So that's the final assembly that we're going to be doing, and then that project will be complete. So we definitely need a new project to take us into well, more excitement really, and something a bit more sporty. So that's why I've picked those 4 cars. But or maybe you want to suggest another car, do so in the comments below. Anyway, thank you for watching this week. Don't forget to subscribe down below here, and we will see you next Monday.